All right. Well, you know what? While we're doing an opening, I wanted to talk about an opening that has been bothering me for years, and it started recently bothering me again. Do you remember the opening for Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games?
Yeah.
And Sonic and Mario are head to head in the foot race? Yeah, I don't think so. That's not the way it would work. Unless that picture was like Sonic lapping Mario for the 80th time, I don't think that's the way it really works. Oh, and it's also time for the enthusiast.
Yes! Oh my god!
I would have to agree with you on that argument, by the way.
Yeah. It's always driven me crazy. I mean, I'll get over it, and then like a few days later, I'll wake myself up upset and in tears. But anyway, this is the enthusiast with one of your hosts, Jesse Nazario here, not beside me, but always in my heart. Will Zabo, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Sick baby this week. Seems like the tables have turned on us.
I'm glad your Skype picture still has a picture of you, so I can look at your face while we're talking at least. It's nice. It's
Yes,
nice.
I have nice letters to look at for you. So thank you.
Really? What is my Skype picture?
Letter L and N.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what's up with you, man? What's been new besides Sick Baby?
Nothing much really. Been playing some new games came out. I've been playing Wolfenstein, and I haven't started Assassin's Creed yet. I'm going to start that tonight. That's going to be what I use for our video of this podcast. I beat South Park, Fractured Butthole. That was quite the journey. Really enjoyed it. Was a lot of fun.
It is a fun game. Just a side note on that, I know a guy that's never been into RPGs whatsoever, and South Park pulled him into RPGs. He wants to try other RPGs now.
Really?
So good for you, South Park. That you got somebody that's never played turn-based in his life was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out.
That is really awesome to hear.
It is.
What about you? What have you been up to this week?
Well, first, I want to thank all the new people that we had join us that probably came out and seen us last Sunday. Our numbers on subscribers and views went up. So if you're listening and you met us at the comic panel on Sunday, thanks for joining us. That's number one on my list because I'm a nice guy like that.
Ah, yes.
Number two, my week was kind of but it's okay because Thursday night, well, I guess Friday morning technically at midnight, Mario Odyssey was released, and that's legitimately what I've been doing since then. I did have to work a shift at work, but my body was there. My mind was with Mario in the clouds.
Okay.
In the clouds.
Same story. Peach gets taken by Bowser.
Yes, I would say it's the same Mario story. Yes, I do like the way the game opens though. I really like the wording in the beginning. It's like above Peach's castle, Mario and Bowser are battling once again, kind of like, yep, this is what they'll do for the rest of their lives kind of idea. I did like the way the game opened up, but I'm really enjoying it. I can't say enough about this game.
Okay. So, would you say you're enjoying it more than Zelda, or about the same?
See, that's tough. I'm thinking right now I'm enjoying it more than Zelda, only because, and I know I'm going to get somebody to stab me after saying this, I feel like there's more to do in it than Breath of the Wild. But I feel like that's not what Breath of the Wild was aiming for. I feel like that one was about exploring, and this one's more about, like, the best way I can describe it, it is not a difficult game. The difficult in this game is like finding the moons in the most particular ways you would never think to do it. And that's what I'm legit enjoying. It reminds me of like 64 and Sunshine and that X, where like you're like, what is behind this corner? Or if I hit this block in a certain way, that something happens, and sometimes something does happen. So you're like, oh wow, maybe I should try this more often. So, like, there's a lot of stages where it'll make you think you're only getting one moon in there, but if you just look at a different angle, there's like 3 or 4 moons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you mean. That's interesting.
So, I would like to finish it before I give my full review or what I think compared to Breath of the Wild. I will say this: I wish this was the one released with the system, only because I feel like it would have got a more broad audience to come in for the Switch versus the Breath of the Wild, which is really a kind of Zelda fanboy thing. I feel like a lot of people would just pick up this game and play and be like, "Oh, this is enjoyable."
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see that, especially since everyone knows Mario. Not everyone's super into Zelda.
Well, with that being said, though, my son dressed up like him yesterday for trick-or-treating.
Mario?
Yeah, and because he's wearing the Odyssey hat with 2 eyeballs, people were like, "Oh, you look like Mario." He's like, "I am Mario." And they're like, "Oh, the hat threw me off." I was like, "It's got a hat with eyeballs now. What's going on in the video game world?" That's it.
Yeah, not impressed with Mario. It's review-wise, it's been getting 10s. It kind of doesn't make sense to me, but it's each their own.
You're an own.
Yes, I am.
Besides that, I finished Stick of Truth.
Okay, now how much have you put into Fractured Butthole?
I finished I'd probably say I got past the 6th graders, and then I got past the mission after that, and then by that point Mario had came out, so sorry, South Park. I put on the back burner for a little bit.
Okay. Is there anything else that we wanted to go over?
Not that I can think of.
Wolfenstein's actually really good. Super difficult, though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm playing on normal.
Dark Souls difficult, or?
I wouldn't say Dark Souls difficult, but it does it has its moments where I just already found myself having to step away because it's just so frustrating at times. A lot of fun though. It is so nice to play the game, and it has such a serious tone, but it doesn't take itself too seriously all the time. It's it's aware it's a video game, so it has these jokey moments. It's great. I really like it. I would, if you can pick it up, I would definitely say if you have the spare money to get it, because it's such a good game already. Bit challenging though. I'm playing it on normal. I've
been looking at the not reviews. I have been looking at free reviews, but a lot of trailers. I do like the look of the game. I always like those gross looking characters, and the over details of the pothole marks on people's faces and stuff like that. So that's one thing I can say I really do enjoy about the way that game looks.
Yeah, especially some of the characters just look like they're on heroin and stuff. It's funny, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I haven't gotten to play Assassin's Creed too much. Right now, the 2 things I'm really focusing on are Shadow of War as my open world game, and Wolfenstein as my more linear game, because I'm trying to just do one at a time right now.
Right, and Wolfenstein, that is first person, and it's kind of still the old school Wolfenstein. You have a life bar and all that still, right?
You don't have the life bar; it's just numbers at the bottom. So you have your armor. It's just like the New Order, where you had the 2 numbers at the bottom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so your health can only be 50. You can get it higher, but it will slowly deplete itself to 50 anyway. And your max armor is 200. But
that makes sense. When I've always been carrying armor in real life, I've only been able to carry 200 pieces. So that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, physics. But yeah, I think that's about it for me. I don't think there was anything else I've been really doing. Oh, Stranger Things 2. Season 2 started, and I started that.
How many episodes are you in?
3. 3 episodes in now.
Yeah, see, that's my issue. I have a bit of a handicap. It's called my wife, who seems to fall asleep every 15 seconds into anything we're watching. I'm loving this season so much, though. I want to be finished by this point. If it had just been me, I feel like I'd been finished by.
Oh yeah, I have the same thing where I have to watch it with my girlfriend, and the first night when it came out, we watched the first episode, and about 15 minutes in, she fell asleep, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm turning this off because if I watch it without you, I'm the bad guy. So It kind of sucks. I'm hoping to have it beat by our next podcast so that maybe we can discuss it and then maybe do like a spoiler cast and talk about it some more.
I just want to give my initial little bit, though. I just love about the show the year gap, and that's all I'm going to say. I think that was a genius idea, though.
I agree. I also, there were some characters that I couldn't remember if I liked them or not, and then as soon as I started the show, I was like, yeah, I like them. Like, Dustin is still so funny. Such a funny character. But I think people will really enjoy it. So far, I'm really enjoying Season 2, and I was a little worried because the first season was such a unknown thing, you know what I mean? Like there was no hype behind it. One day I just got on Netflix and there was something called Stranger Things on, and I was like, I guess I'll check it out, and it was really good. So
yeah, I think I was watching a reviewer online one day. They had gotten an early peek at it, and they were like, I'm definitely going to check this out on Netflix. So I tried it out, and before I knew it, I finished the entire first season in like a weekend, which I'm trying to do now, but isn't looking good for me. I'm only like 5 episodes in.
Yeah, we're only on episode 3. I'm going to watch some tonight if we can, but we'll see.
Fair enough. But
what was that?
You ready to get started?
Oh, yeah. Let's get started with
the news. Ooh.
So first up on the list is Lethal Weapon 5. Apparently they may be working on it. It's still going to have Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So it's not going to be a reboot.
What cracks me up about this is we got the TV series on TV right now. So that's going to confuse people, one. Number two, in the first Lethal Weapon movie, through all 4 of them, Danny Glover is talking about that he's been getting too old for this shit. Is it official that he's just now too old for it, you know? Is he no longer getting there? Is he just, I'm too old for this shit now? You know what I'm saying?
I hope he makes that as a joke.
I do too. I'm actually, a lot of people I've seen online have really mixed feelings about this. I'm actually really excited only because I loved all 4 Lethal Weapon movies. And they're one of those movies, in my opinion, as a franchise, that all 4 movies can stand on their own as individually great movies.
I can see that.
So
I've never been a huge fan personally of them, but I definitely understand like where you're coming from.
I just appreciate in a franchise like you can pick up Lethal Weapon 2 and it doesn't have anything to do with Lethal Weapon 1 and just enjoy it as a movie. That's plot points in that movie, and same thing with 3 and 4. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. I hope they kind of do that, you know. Relying on your prior movies sometimes kind of hurts you as a character, and that's what I enjoyed about Lethal Weapon is, you know, if you were a fan, you knew these characters already, but if you weren't, you just went in, you'd enjoy this as a movie. But besides Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, did they announce any of the other cast coming back? 'Cause Joe Pesci was a big character in those. Chris Rock joined in the last one.
No, so it actually looks like that's as far as that's all they've said, is that we are definitely getting those 2 back. So I don't know who else is going to come back. I don't know the story behind it, you know. I mean, both actors, in my opinion, are getting pretty old. I don't know. Well,
Danny Glover was pretty sure he was born old. he's been old, like, forever, in my opinion. So that's awesome. Mel Gibson, I feel like he's same thing. He's really old by this point. But the last movie I watched, which was like a couple years ago, he came out, and also in Expendables. Although he's an older man, he still has that presence where I'd be like, okay, he's a believable, like, I shouldn't be a cop anymore, but I'm forced not retiring, so I'm going to do it, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I'm wondering if they're both in retirement in this one, and something brings them out of retirement.
I'm going to assume that they both would be retired. If anything, here's what I'm going to really assume, that Danny Glover's character is retired.
Well, he's been retiring for 3 films.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be, this time he's actually supposed to be out of the game again, and we're going to have Mel Gibson bring him back in.
Hopefully. Now, like I said, do you think this will tie in at all with the TV series? The TV series is doing well. It's on its 3rd season now.
I don't think so. I think they're just going to make it its own, you know, they're going to maybe separate the 2. Now, I haven't seen the TV series. Does the TV series already tie into the previous movies? Do we know?
Well, The TV series is just a retelling of the film, so they'll do like parts from the film that everybody recognizes, but in kind of like more updated, modern versions of it.
Okay.
So I actually really like the TV series, but the TV series is pretty much like if the Lethal Weapon movies happen nowadays versus back in the day. So where like there was bombs connected to like landlines and stuff like that in the original show, like there's bombs connected to cell phones or cases based off of Twitter and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty much what they were going for in this day one.
Okay.
Talking about movies that nobody was expecting a sequel to.
Jigsaw.
7 years later, Jigsaw. What is that? I didn't even, when I saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh, they're making a spoof. Oh no, seriously, this is a real sequel. Wow. I didn't see that coming.
The worst part is their movie before this one was called Saw: The Final Chapter.
Oh, that means nothing, man. We had Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Wes Craven's Last Nightmare, Freddy is dead. Like, come on.
I get it, but can at some point in our lives final literally mean final? Just once? No?
Think about it this way. How many Final Destination movies have there been, okay?
Yeah, that is very true.
Okay, we're on 15 Final Fantasy games. It's just the way it works. So this movie, nobody seems to like at all, review-wise.
Yeah, all the reviews are horrible. Like, they're just saying that it's such a bad movie.
Well, I didn't want to go in here blind, and I also didn't want to pay to see the movie. So I went ahead and just read spoilers online. I can tell you what I read, I was not impressed at all. That, it sounds by the numbers a wannabe. You know what it feels like? Actually just reading it and watching the clips that they did leak online, it looks like somebody saw the first Saw movie and was like, oh, I want to do a movie like this and just copy off of it because it was so cool. That's what this movie feels like, and it's an actual sequel to Saw. That's really weird to me. Like I said, and I'm surprised, but like you said, it is doing really well. And it, box office wise, it destroyed the Matt Damon movie, the one George Clooney directed.
Yeah, and you and me make this joke all the time that the main reason why they did this was because they're just trying to keep up with the Fast and Furious. Like, they need to be the longest running movie.
Yeah. But it's ludicrous, in my opinion. You know what I mean? What cracks me up about it was the whole idea in the trailer was it's Jigsaw still alive. And the problem is, I don't think anybody cares if Jigsaw's still alive. I feel like anybody that's seen, and obviously a lot of people did, they got up and they put their Sunday best on. They're like, I'm going to go see Saw. And I feel like all these people that went to go see Saw literally went to go see some gory deaths. That's it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I also feel like, and me and my wife discussed this, just 15 years ago when I was a teenager, I would have been the same exact way and been like, you know what, I want to go see a horror movie. Oh, Saw's playing. So these gory movies always do well because you have such a young audience that will just go see the next horror movie. You know what I mean?
That's true, and that's what's kind of upsetting, though, that these movies keep being made not because they're good, but because, teens are just like, I need a new horror movie to take my girlfriend to get some scares out of her.
Yeah, so she'll cuddle up with me,
Yeah, trying to get that good.
But, I remember plenty of times, me and you are a little around the same age. I'm a little older than you. But you remember when The Ring came out and The Grudge and all that. And it was all the talk in school. Everybody's, I'm going to see this. I need to see this. I remember going to see both of them films. And everybody talking about how scared they were. And then realizing how much I just wasted money. The dumbest films I'd ever seen in my life. So, and I think the issue with the Saw franchise and why it's existed so long, I feel like anybody that watched the first Saw movie was utterly shocked that we had such a really original idea for a film. The issue is, since it was so original and so many people talked about it, because I know after I saw the first Saw, all I could talk about is how amazing I thought that film was. And the problem is I went and seen the second one, thought that one was pretty good. Third one, I was like, you know what, this is good way to end it, but the issue is they kept making money and people kept talking about those films.
Yeah, I guess that could be the problem. I mean, especially when, because I love the first movie. I think the first one, in my opinion, was the best. I thought the second one was still really good, and then I felt after the second one was where it started to go downhill.
And I feel like everybody agrees with that. But with that being said, I think the third one's still watchable. After that is when they just become ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just gore fest. I always do think it's funny, though. It's like those movies literally sold off of a guy's voice. Like anybody else, that movie franchise wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you had Anthony Anderson doing the voice instead of, the guy that played Jigsaw, it just wouldn't work as a film.
So what do you think we're getting another one, or is this finally it?
No, this doing well. From what I like I said, I read this, and I don't think this is a spoiler because people obviously are going to see it anyway. This reading it and watching the ending leaked online, it left it open for another one. Shock, Hollywood, setting up to do sequels all the time.
That's upsetting. I just want it to end.
And I feel like sometimes it definitely hurts Hollywood. I would bring up a prime example. The last Independence Day, they set up to make this the first of 3 more films. And because they were focused so far more on these 3 other films, this one hurt, and now that franchise was canceled. Just focus on your film. Don't worry about if you're going to get a sequel or not.
Yeah.
If your movie's good, a sequel will come organically,
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, like, even if you ended the movie with a good ending, it's Independence Day. You know what I mean? Like, you can just make more aliens come. It's not
not difficult, man.
I mean, look, the first movie I thought ended pretty well. That you didn't need a new one.
I agree. You know what I mean? And sometimes a story can just close one chapter, and that's all you need. A prime example of that would be Gears of War 1. You didn't destroy the Locust, you didn't end the war, but you killed General Ram at the end of Gears of War, and you got closure at the end of that. You know what I mean? So even if that's all you played, you were fine. But then it also felt organic when a sequel came out, because you know what? The war wasn't over to begin with.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
You know what I mean? But sometimes a movie comes along, and it has a new interesting idea, and then all of a sudden you just keep getting sequels every 4 minutes that nobody asked for. So, one time it's in a house, the other time it's in a city, the next it's election. What's the fourth one going to be?
A prequel.
A prequel. The Purge.
Yeah, so we're getting a 4th Purge movie. Now, I personally have never even seen one of them.
Okay, so I'm glad you haven't, so I can rant and be so angry. Okay, in my opinion, the fact that there's 4 of these Saw, we agree that the first 2 are actually decent. Third one's watchable. The rest are crap. And in my opinion, not one of these Purge movies were good. I watched the first 2, didn't even give the third a chance, and the fact that it's getting a 4th now, it mind boggles me.
It's that thing, man, that we were talking about, where people just go and see it. Because could that be the problem though with horror movies? Because that's one of the reasons I don't personally like horror movies.
I agree, but the thing is about horror movies is there's a formula you follow. I understand that, but when your formula is so obliviously obvious, the Purge movie is literally writers going, "How dumb can we make people that the audience does not remotely feel for them in death?" You know what I mean? Like, that's those films. And when it comes to a point where you can't identify with one character, you're like, does nothing for me. It's sincerely the first Purge movie, the only character I liked died. And after that, I was like, I could care less. The rest of you set on fire. I really don't. A prequel, too, on top of that. Why? What about this world have you not already established? Like, honestly, we get it, okay? You got rid of crime and poverty by killing poor people once a year. I honestly get it. And the second one you got into, it's really racist because they mostly kill black people. I understand that. What could you possibly tell me in this prequel that I do not know already? Or would care about? You know what I mean?
The first Purge.
Oh, where people didn't know if it was real.
How it all started. That's what they're going to tell us.
So it's a 2-hour film, and the first hour is people going, "Is this real? Are they really doing this? Are we cool?" So literally, the third movie right now is free on TV, and I still haven't watched it. I reviewed. I'm like, no, I'm not. Made that mistake twice. You're not getting me a third time.
Never again.
Never again. Exactly. Oh, four of these, that mind boggles me, man. Four of these movies.
And I promise you, there will be probably a fifth.
The in-between story of what was really going on in this
See,
Purge.
the Purge right now is thinking, if we can beat the number of Saw movies,
We got a chance of taking Fast and Furious down.
That's their thought process right now.
Honestly, it mind boggles me that, these horror movies stay around so much. But maybe, you know what? It always takes one in the franchise to like truly kill it, where they're like, I'm done. We're not making any more of these. And for Saw, I think the last two started dropping drastically box office wise, and that's why we got the quote unquote final chapter, and it took 7 years to get another one. Now that this one made more money, it's probably going to be another 7 years of films, and then they'll drop off drastically. Who knows?
Let's just hope this is the last one.
I'm hoping that they're. But and you know what cracks me about the Purge movies too? None of them feel full budget films. They all feel like those B-C rentals from Redbox, where like the mother or grandmother gets it confused with the actual real movie and rented that one by mistake. You know what I mean? Like instead of Transformers, Transmorphers. Like that's what those Purge movies feel like. Like there was an actual good film somewhere, and then they released this one to like trick old ladies, and they fall for it. Except there's no good film. We just get this hunk of crap in a DVD case.
You gotta love it.
I don't actually.
Oh, come on. You love your B movies.
I do sometimes.
This movie clearly probably only cost about $10,000 to make, if that.
10 grand. It looks like it's filmed in a garage. Let's be honest. Yeah, there's just one character in the second movie in particular that I just had to point out pisses me off. He is waiting for a purge to kill somebody that the movie makes you feel like deserves to die. So like he waits and then he prepares like an hour before the purge to like drive over there, and then like that's the whole movie. It's him like driving to get there. When any other person in history would be like, why don't you drive to his house like 10 minutes before the purge starts? It starts, shoot him, and then drive home. Done. Credits. Movie over. Like, why? But hey, Hollywood.
I was going to say, because Hollywood can't sell that, Jesse.
Yes, this is true.
That's why.
You know what I mean? It's almost like when you have a manga that came out and they only released so many mangas, but a TV anime was based off of it, and they kind of stretched it out for like years to a point where kids were like, this show is awesome, so they go to rewatch it as an adult.
Dragon Ball Z, yeah.
Oh, wait, that does sound familiar. Are we getting a game soon?
Yeah, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. We actually finally got a release date. January 26th.
That game looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
Oh my god. Every time I see it, I'm just blown away by how
And
good it
it's
looks.
so stupid good looking. And I'm so glad that they're not forcing the season pass down our throat, They wouldn't do that to us.
Oh, there is. There's a season pass.
I mean, I'm so glad, that there's only one season pass they've announced so far, because we're probably going to get 40 of them. So what's the season pass give you?
As far as we know, it will give you 8 characters.
When do we get the
8 new fighters? They haven't said when the fighters will be released, but they are not going to be in the core game. So you do need the season pass, or you can buy them separately. They haven't talked about pricing of separate characters either.
Here's my worry about this, and I'm going to talk about as a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but not a fan of anime in general.
Okay.
So my fear is that I will buy this season pass, and it'll be all these characters in Dragon Ball Z I've never heard of, because I only watched the core anime, GT, and then some of Dragon Ball. So I'm afraid we'll get a lot of characters from Super or the animated movies that I don't know about, and I'll feel like I wasted my money. Or it will be the quite opposite. I'll think, you know what, I don't want to waste my money, and then it'll be these like most amazing characters I want to play as, like Android 19 or Dr. Duro, or you know what I mean, some cool characters. So it's like I really don't like that whole I don't know who the characters are yet.
Yeah, I completely understand your argument, but I also understand why they obviously can't tell us yet. Or why, if they do know who they're going to bring, why they're not going to say it still. Because if you heard that they were going to bring these characters over, but, you know, they're not in the game yet, it's like, well, why didn't you just put them already in the game? You know what I mean? Like, if they told me all 8 characters, I would kind of be like, well, why aren't these 8 characters just in there?
Like, it's a difficult thing. If the extra characters like Brawley, I don't care. But if it's like Mr. Popo, I'll lose my mind. I'm paying $10 for just him. So you laugh, man. I've been waiting like a million years for Mr. Popo to be a playable character in a Dragon Ball Z game.
I really want Chaozu.
His final would just be he grabs your back adorably and then says bye to Tien.
And blows up.
Oh, and it just takes away like an inch of your health.
And he dies. That'd be great.
Oh, man. I do, like I said, oh, hey, buddy. How you doing in the background? It's not the issue, like I said. I don't hate on Dragon Ball Z like some people go out of their way to hate on it. It's just, I watched it as a kid. I enjoyed the anime for what it is. I'm done watching. I don't want to watch anymore. So it's like, where does it end?
Yeah, and I mean, like, now we have Dragon Ball Super out, so they can clearly take characters from that if they wanted to.
And what's the story of this game? Have they announced that at least?
The story's going to be its own thing. It's not something that we've seen before previously.
When I was in middle school, I wrote this like really badass Dragon Ball Z story when the first season was still going on. So when I discover that, I'll send it over to the Dragon Ball Z people and get like $1 million for it because it was such a cool idea.
Wow. I mean, yeah, you probably should. I mean, $1 million? Yeah.
Like $1 million because I wrote it and I was like, yeah, because I was friends with this guy like Lewis and I was like, Lewis, read this. And he was like, yeah, word. That would be the coolest thing in the world. And I was like, it would be. The story pretty much, twist ending, Krillin was the strongest of all time.
Wow.
So I've always been a Krillin fan. I like him. It's the coolest.
Krillin is technically the strongest human, so he is the strongest somewhere.
Yes, he is. He is something nice. Real quick, before we jump to the other news, I was just always curious. I think Vegeta is your favorite Dragon Ball Z character, correct?
Yes.
Piccolo would be mine, followed closely up with Krillin. Who is your second favorite?
My second favorite, out of the Z Fighters, or in every character throughout Dragon Ball Z?
Z Fighters or characters, whoever you think is more interesting of a choice.
If we're only going to talk about Z Fighters, it's Future Trunks.
Sure, Trunks was badass.
He's my second favorite. If we're talking about all characters, it's Cell.
Oh, Cell. All right.
I loved Cell. I thought he was such a good villain.
I did, when he stepped on Android 16's head.
Oh, man.
Now, real quick on Future Trunks, did you like long-haired Future Trunks?
No, not as much.
Really? I really loved, though, when he had the same outfit on as Vegeta and he grew his hair out ridiculously.
I loved when he had the Saiyan armor. That was really cool. I just didn't dig the hair.
I think it's really neat. Not a lot of people give that show a flag, but you know, it was Saiyan's hair didn't grow at all. It would, if you cut it, it grew right back into the same length that it had, and that's where it would stand. I think it was funny that the only Saiyan's hairs that grew in the show were the Saiyans that were only half Saiyan in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I always thought it was pretty neat. Just Gohan, Trunks, and whatever Goku's other son was.
Goten.
Who? Why?
Yeah. No, I do agree. And they actually referenced that once, like, about haircuts with Goku and Vegeta.
Their hair always stayed the same. Except for what was in GT, Vegeta cut his hair and he cut the spike off at top.
Yeah, but that's not canon anymore, so.
Yep. Nobody wants to pretend like GT happened. You know what I mean?
I will say GT gave us the coolest Saiyan form, because I think Super Saiyan 4 is still the best looking one we've gotten.
Honestly, the coolest thing that GT that came out of me besides Super Android, what was it, 17?
Yeah, Super 17 was really good. Are you talking about Baby?
I really like Baby Vegeta. I thought too. It was so badass. And that armor, I want to wear it, and I know my body would not flatter it at all. At all. But I think I'd look so cool in it.
I agree. I thought that was such a sick-looking armor and design for him.
You are a sick armor. Talking about things that you would never think would flatter you. GameCube controllers, huh?
Yeah.
They're interesting, aren't they? A lot of buttons on those things.
They are, and they seem to be Nintendo's most loved controller, I would argue.
It is true. I was at a midnight opening for Mario, and there's a mixed bag of people. A lot of nerds. A lot of them. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. If you're a nerd, good for you. But there were some people that were a little too nerdy, and the conversation they had that actually did pique my interest is they were talking about controllers, and they did agree that the GameCube controller was the best. And I would go as far to agree with that. I do think that was the best Nintendo controller.
I agree with that it was the best Nintendo controller.
Yes.
Because I don't know if I would say it's the best controller of all time.
No, if I had to go with the best controller of all time, I don't think anything will pass like Sony's original DualShock controller.
See, I really like the PS4, but I also really like the original Xbox 360 controller.
Hipster.
So,
but either way, when it comes to Nintendo controllers, though, that's kind of been the peak. There's a lot of extra buttons on it. People were pissed. They were like, you know what? N64 is too big. We're not giants. What is this random joystick in the middle that nobody enjoys? So Nintendo was like, all right, how about this? 40 joysticks, some buttons on places you didn't even know you wanted them, and we'll give you the option to play 4 people at a time. There you go. You're welcome. That's pretty much how the GameCube controller worked. Yeah. So, anything new with the GameCube controller in news?
Yeah, it looks like you're going to be able to use your GameCube controllers on the Switch as long as you still have your Wii U adapter.
What? Wonder. So this was with the newest update, the one where we can do video now on the Switch.
Yes.
Now, do you think there's a particular reason why, or you think they just did it?
Now, that was something that kind of it was a little confusing to me, because the only game that was on the Wii U that could even use the GameCube controllers was Smash Brothers.
That is correct.
So really, there is nothing on the Switch unless they... I haven't seen anything that says that it can be used on all games, but as of right now, there's nothing on the Switch then that can use this. So I'm curious if that means Smash Brothers might be on its way.
That's the only option I can think, because you played the Switch too. Every time the Switch you switch your controllers on the Switch, it gives you a whole new layout of what the buttons do now, from your Pro to your Joy-Cons to your Joy-Cons in a holder. Like, they're all different functions way to do it. So I can't really picture all the games being like, hey, we're programmed to work with all of these and GameCube controllers on top of that. You're welcome. Like, it doesn't really work in my mind that way. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And usually whenever you do hook up your controller, you can actually even see all your options, all the controllers that you can even use. And I don't believe I've noticed GameCube really there yet still.
Be honest though, I'm shocked we haven't got a Smash Brothers on the Switch, because easily as porting the game, people would buy it in a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I know I've been itching to play Smash Brothers to the point where like I'm ready to buy it on my 3DS.
I mean, that was our game. Like every week, we played Smash Brothers. So.
Yes, best many a times beating you in that game.
Oh my God, I beat you just as many, if not more times.
You know what? Maybe if you didn't have a shirtless guy in the game, you wouldn't beat anybody. How about that? You distract me with them amazing pecs, and who knows what could happen after that.
Or I could, use Bowser to pick you up and throw you off the map with myself.
Oh no! That one didn't make me as mad as the tree. That has been the maddest I think I ever was in video games to you. Not because you killed me with a tree, because people of YouTube listen to this. Not only did he kill me with a tree with a villager, he explained how it was difficult to do it, and yet he still pulled it off. That's what annoyed me. You see, I have to plant it, then I have to water it and tend to it, and then it grows, and then I still have to cut it down and hit you with it. And I was like, I know how the game works, buddy.
I'm just saying that it is a process, and it got you.
So do you think it would be smart of Nintendo? Like I've said, I feel like they should just, rather than work on a new Smash Brothers, because the creator of Smash Brothers says he's done. So rather than them giving it to a new team or anything. Would it just be smart to port out the same game again, or if they did that, at least throw in 2 extra characters?
I would say the best thing they should do is to obviously, one, I agree, port out the game, and I think that they also really need to just constantly make new characters for it. There's a lot of Nintendo characters that aren't in that game that people wanted to see.
Ice climbers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you really could make... And there's a lot of special guest characters that people ask for that, we still haven't seen.
Yes.
I think that, we don't need a whole new Smash Brothers. Just keep expanding upon this one. And Nintendo has shown that they don't mind doing DLC anymore, so I think they just need to stick with it.
No, I agree. I would love to see that. You know what I mean? I would even love to see, like, combine the 3DS and the Wii U version into, like, one ultimate game. Like, you know how the 3DS version had a kind of a story mode in it?
Yes.
You could bring that over to the Switch version. I think that would be enough justification for people to be like, okay, let me spend $60 again on it because I'm getting the best of the 3DS game, the best of the Wii U game. I'm getting them all in one kind of bundle.
I completely can agree with that, actually.
I know, and I don't work for Nintendo no matter how many emails I send them. Them jerks.
Shocker.
Them jerks.
I honestly would think at this point that you did work for Nintendo.
And it's insane because you've seen my Facebook timeline this entire weekend. I've been one big advertisement for Nintendo.
I wouldn't, not that I would call you a fanboy or anything, but yeah, you definitely seem like you like Nintendo.
I am a bit of a fanboy, but not only that, every time I took what I thought was a really good picture on Mario Odyssey and spent a good 15 minutes angling it the way I wanted it to be and send it on Facebook, yeah, that would make me a fanboy, pretty much. I'm not ashamed of that, though, you know what I mean?
Hey, live your life, love what you love.
It's not like when you walk into people's houses and they have them like VR machines on and they're, looking really ridiculous. Like, grown men swinging at something that's not there.
Is this a shot at the PlayStation VR?
Oh, no, never. No, that was it. Do you have a VR? I know I always ask you that.
You never ask me that, but no, I don't actually.
I don't have a VR either. I was going to get one, and then I heard that the Batman game they released on it was pretty much a walkthrough on how to throw batarangs.
Yeah, it was like a mini... It was more of a mini game, not more than it was like some people thought it would be a full-fleshed game.
Right.
I just don't like the idea of VR personally, because I feel like once VR kicks off, the next step is us being like jacked into video games. And
that would be really
I just want to be able to hold a controller and sit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to...
I'm not saying I want VR to like take off or anything, but I do think it's cool giving new people options to play games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as long as like my fear has always been I don't want the traditional way that we play games now to disappear. So as long as like that still stays around and VR is just another way to enjoy these games, that's fine to me.
Well, I can agree with that. It's like when the Wii came out and like it was like, oh, this is really cool. I can jump around, I can move. The Wii was cool, but it wasn't the only way you wanted to play video games. You also wanted that option to sit down and relax and play a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, you know what I mean? With this being said, I am surprised the VR is held on this long with Sony. Sony's usually something to be like, what, this didn't catch on in 10 seconds? We're done with you. You're dead.
Yeah, they do tend to do that, but surprisingly, they do seem to be supporting it. Now, they made an announcement recently that was, the way that they worded it was a bit confusing. They said that at Paris Games Week, which is actually this week coming up, it should start on the 31st, they're going to announce 7 new PS4, VR games. And that was kind of weird to me, because it's like, okay, well, are all 7 of them VR games? Or are some of them VR games, some aren't VR games?
Or all 7 games that are PlayStation games that you can play out of VR and in VR?
Yeah, it's just kind of like confusing to me. So I thought we could say like what we would like for them to be, And
what I'm hoping it's not immediately is 7 games already out that are getting VR support.
I hope that too. I could see that definitely being what they do, but I do agree with you. I hope that that's not the case. I hope that they are brand new experiences for these people, rather than like I can kind of see Wolfenstein being one of them, since Bethesda seems to be one supporting Nintendo so much. I could see that Sony would want to strike a deal with that as well. Maybe being like, hey, we want VR support.
I'm not liking these games. I don't mind the VR exclusive games. Some of them make sense, like the Star Trek one that's exclusive VR, the car racing one, stuff like that. That makes sense. What I don't like is when there's already a release of a game and then they release a VR version of that game
instead of just patching it in.
Instead of just patching it in, that drives me crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I bought a $60 game, why do I have to buy it again? Because now I can see it in first person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I actually 100% agree. And my argument with that was Skyrim. Like, how many times are they going to resell us Skyrim?
So I'm actually surprised Nintendo hasn't done a VR yet, with the option of being able to do it so easily with the Switch.
Yeah, because you could really just strap the Switch to your face.
Absolutely, and you already have portable controllers, Joy-Cons. Like, it's probably one of the easiest design options. But hey, Nintendo. To be honest, games I would love to see going in, I would like to see just some, like I said, those exclusive first-person experiences on VR would be really neat. But I'd also like to see some games I probably had never seen, would never think would be on VR running, like some horror games kind of thing. So maybe like Evil Within, like just an experience on VR would be really cool.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
You know what I would love? A VR mission, a Star Wars VR game.
It wouldn't surprise me if they, if one of the things they do say is that Star Wars Battlefront 2 will support VR.
Yeah, but I want to play as a Jedi and be able to like move things.
Ah, yes.
Pull out a lightsaber, you know what I mean? Like that would. Can you imagine if in a VR game that they gave you like the most epic, glorious Jedi scenes in all the movies and you just played them out? You know what I mean?
That would be pretty cool.
Like you had to fight Darth Maul, you know what I mean? You had to fight Count Dooku. You had to escape from the Trade Federation base in the beginning with Qui-Gon. Those would be awesome things.
That would be really cool, actually.
You know what?
Or you also have like the bounty hunter missions.
Word. Where you can look at like at bounty. What was that? Star Wars Bounty Hunters, where you could look and see how much people are worth, dead or alive, kind of thing.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be really cool.
That would be really neat. What's another game you'd love to see on VR?
So one thing I'm hoping is that not all these games that they do announce, the 7 new games, are all VR. I'm sure they probably will be, but I'm hoping that some of them are I'm hoping that maybe 3 out of the 7 are not just VR, and maybe 4 are only in VR.
Right.
So one of the things I was thinking of was this is the anniversary year for not Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. So I thought it would be cool if they would release a new Ratchet and Clank game, especially since the last one that came out last year did so well.
Yeah, it's just not the movie.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I really thought it would be cool to like get another one and maybe have some VR support in that. I thought would be pretty cool.
That'd be like when you're flying the ships and stuff, because that was one of the best parts of the last game. Was the ship combat was really, really fun.
I agree. That was actually really good.
Ooh, maybe we could get a Sly Cooper game in VR. Where you had like steal things with like the cane and stuff. That'd be pretty fun.
That would be different.
It would be different. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't even got to experience VR yet, so I don't even know what the experience is. One of the first things I do in a first-person game is I look down to see if I can see my feet. If I can't, I immediately get pissed.
Oh, a game that I think would be really cool in VR? It's coming out soon, too. L.A. Noire.
I was literally just thinking that, too. That is so weird.
Like, I was just thinking about it, and I was like, oh, man, how cool it would be to be able to investigate all the items.
Or interrogate people and watch where their face ticks in VR,
Yeah.
That would be really, really interesting. How about Sonic the Hedgehog in VR?
A running simulator?
Absolutely.
I think you just want more Sonic.
This is true.
I don't really know if that would be a good thing, but
I don't know. Best things in VR, I think, right now are. I'm guessing there's got to be a lot of rail shooters in there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah. We do have the God. What is that series called again? I really enjoyed it too. Until Dawn.
right.
They did have the Until Dawn rail shooter for it, so that doesn't really seem to surprise me.
It would be cool to see some of the older rail shooters start coming back, and having a chance to shine. There, like House of the Dead was always a really good one. Time Crisis was always a real fun one. Start seeing some of these old school, like arcadey rail shooters come back in VR would be really, really neat.
So, what are some? We do know Zone of the Enders is a game that's getting PlayStation VR support.
Word.
Yeah, and I really enjoy Zone of the Enders. Do you think that maybe now Konami right now is not in the best of light? Do you think maybe the new Metal Gear game is going to get some VR support to
What Metal Gear? What Metal Gear game? 'Cause
survive?
I know what you're talking about. I was just pretending like I didn't because that's not a Metal Gear game.
Oh no, I agree.
We'll call that Survive. Do I think it's going to get for VR mode in? Maybe. I don't know. But like you said, Konami's not in the best light right now, so I can't. No matter what, people are going to pick it apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's, it almost makes you feel bad about Survive. While I agree with you, it's not a Metal Gear game. If it's a good game, I feel like no one's going to even care.
Well, I told you, I watched a video with this guy who played it, and they asked him what he thought, and it hurt him to say it was amazing. He's like, it was in the engine of 5, so it was really good. He's like, it's just a game that shouldn't be called a Metal Gear game. And I feel like because of that, people are going to have trouble admitting that the game is good.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people are going to be holding on to what happened to Kojima and stuff like that. Probably a little more than they should, but we'll see what happens. I don't even think I've really seen much on the game since E3, and I don't even think we really saw much there, did we?
No, not at all. I don't even remember anything at E3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think? You think there are any other competitions going to try a VR if VR starts doing well? Do you think Microsoft will try anything or Nintendo?
Well, I know Microsoft currently has a deal with the Oculus Rift. I don't know if that means they're going to, actually get the Oculus Rift running on the Xbox. That could be a reason why the Xbox One X had to be so powerful.
Okay.
But I'm just not entirely sure, to be honest, if that's their goal right now.
Because as it is right now, the only competition to the Sony VR is the PC one, the
Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. But both of those are also really expensive, and you need a really strong computer to run them. It's not something you can just use. So the PlayStation one seems to be the more affordable one, because you can get a PS4 pretty cheap compared to buying a high-end PC, as well as,
Or building one yourself kind of idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. So if I want to see any game come out of this, out of the Sony thing, you know what I mean? I would actually love to see an RPG of some sort get VR support, and maybe just a straight RPG coming out for a Sony product.
Yeah, because we did get that news not too long ago that Sony themselves are thinking about making some first party RPGs. So
right,
I definitely wouldn't mind some RPGs.
Yeah, I would love, and I want that old school JRPG. And even if, like you said, I want it to be able to be a game that comes out, but also support VR. And I think that would be a really cool game that I would pick up no matter what, and then be like, oh, well, I'll get VR eventually too, to be able to play an old school JRPG in VR. That'd be awesome. Matter of fact, make that happen, Sony. Well, you're welcome.
Sony, do it today.
Sony, do it. We had a lot of good games this year, didn't we?
Too many.
Yes.
That was something I really wanted to touch up on. I kind of was fishing around for things to really put in the notes this week, because there really wasn't too much, in my opinion, that was really worth discussing.
Well, the Shazam got casted and got a director. That was news.
We did. Actually, I did throw that into the notes, too. I sent that to you last, but I never put it in my own notes. So that was kind of my mistake. But let's talk about that real quick, and then we can get into the last bit of video gaming.
All right. So the director of Shazam, interesting looking guy. That's where I'm going to leave it there. I think he has an uphill battle. Shazam is a really, really weird character to make work on film. So good luck. As for the casting of Shazam, I don't know how I feel about it.
Now, when I look at the guy, I can see it. I can see what they were like doing when they looked at him, and then looked at Shazam maybe. But I think Shazam's just such a hard character in general because it's a grown man acting like a little kid.
And it's true. That is a little kid that has to pretend to be a grown man.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is you already have Black Adam casted. All right. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson's bicep is bigger than my entire body, and I'm a huge guy. So it's like, is this guy going to bulk up to play Shazam? Is it going to be, it makes sense that those two are going to go toe-to-toe kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he is going to have to get bigger if that's what they plan on doing.
But like you said, I can see the whole cheesiness. Like, the costume is going to make or break it. You know what I mean? That will make all the difference. When Galia Gadot got casted, I can never say her name, right? Gal Gadot, thank you. Got cast as Wonder Woman. Everybody said the same thing. Too skinny. She doesn't look Amazonian at all. She put a little muscle on, got into that actual Wonder Woman suit, and it made the difference for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a suit definitely makes the difference. So we'll have to see him in the suit. But I also think this is a huge role, and he's not been in much at all.
No, he hasn't been. And do you think though that's kind of what maybe DC's banking on? That he's not as well known, so it's because really a lot of their casting up to this point, I would say, has been really known actors.
It's been a split park. You have big actors like Ben Affleck, and then you have actors like Ezra Miller, who literally people recognize his face before his name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So I have no idea. I think DC. What I've seen from DC so far is they've really kind of picked a character based off of their acting chops versus the look for them and the way they actually, resemble that character. And I can respect that because at the end of the day, Will Smith was amazing as Deadshot, but he looked nothing like Deadshot from the comics. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy, but it's the reality of the situation.
No, I agree. If only they can get their pacing of their movies down a little better, I think them would be in a really good spot.
Absolutely. So I'm excited for Shazam. I think it's going to be really interesting. I have trouble seeing it being able to be presented to the regular audience, being like, okay, so this little boy yells Shazam and turns into a grown adult and then fights an Egyptian with the same powers.
Yeah. I also think, though, now, do we know if they're going to CGI him as a kid? Is that who's going to be Kid Billy Batson, or are they going to actually get
God, I hope not. That would be so awkward, man.
Oh, I hope I agree. But
no, I feel like they just have to get a pretty decent kid to play the role. You know what I mean? Somebody that will be charming enough that will like it.
What do you think about the kid from Stranger Things?
Which one?
Mike.
The main kid, the one that was in it? You know who I'd rather see? The other kid from Stranger Things, one without the teeth, that got teeth in season 2, the W.
Dustin?
Dustin. I would actually see him more as Shazam than anybody, or Billy Baxton.
See, I feel like, though, he doesn't look enough like the adult actor that they have.
I could see that.
So, because I feel like now that you've casted your adult Shazam, you need to cast someone who mirrors him enough that you can believe when he becomes Shazam that it's still the same guy.
Well, you know what, though? Before they went with the New 52, Billy Baxton was an adult in the comics. He had grown up. So when he turned into Shazam, it was, you know what I mean, he just basically put muscle on and got a cape. So who knows what they're doing with this story anyway. They could do a flashback to show when he was a kid he got the powers, and now he's been an adult. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
We have no idea what
this universe we already know. Some characters have already been established for some time now, so.
Absolutely. Just real quick, and this might be a little spoiler in it, but I'm wondering if I heard something crazy. So the last, if anybody doesn't know this, the last TV spot for Justice League dropped. And in the trailer, you hear a voice saying, "I don't recognize this world." And then you hear Batman saying, "We don't have to recognize it, we just have to save it." Correct?
Yes.
And I know a lot of people just threw it off as maybe like Alfred saying that line or one of the other Justice League members. But I feel like that's a weird line for one of them to say and not a Green Lantern. I think it might be a Lantern.
That actually does make sense to me as well. Only because why else would you say this world doesn't...
I don't recognize this world, yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been, in my opinion, it does have to seem more like it's someone who has left this world.
Correct. So I just wanted to point that out while we're on DC news. And like I said, I don't know if that's spoiler because we could be completely wrong, but movie comes out next month. Woo! So with that being said, do you think we're going to get, in this Justice League movie, do you think we're going to get hints to Shazam? Rock's been casted as Black Adam since like 1986. Do you think we're going to get him in the movie at all or any of these other DC characters?
I don't think we'll get Shazam because he just got casted. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The movie's basically done. So there's no way we're going to get Shazam. I think I wouldn't mind maybe small teasers to other characters, but not something so big as to... I don't want what they did with Doomsday. I don't want to see The Rock on screen when, he doesn't need to be there. Don't take away from the villain we already have. Steppenwolf is supposed to be, he's a big villain already.
Yeah, there was the part in the trailer that got me chills in the last trailer they put out, the TV spot, where he picks the guy up by his throat with just his two fingers. The guy goes, "I have a family," and Steppenwolf goes, "Why do people keep telling me that?" But the way he says it is so chilling. Why would I care you have a family? I'm here to murder you. So I'm actually really looking forward to him as a villain. But I agree. I agree with you. I don't want it to be overboard like Batman v Superman was, because even me, being a fan of that movie, I can say there was just way too much in it. I want it to be subtle like Man of Steel was.
Yes.
Where you saw the satellite that said Wayne Enterprises. You saw the truck that said LexCorp. There was a memo for, Blue Beetle's company. What is it? I forgot the name of his industry. You know what I mean? That was nice, subtle hints, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you definitely want, you want to establish this universe more. But don't forget, we still have Lex Luthor that we don't know his role entirely. So this movie is full of a lot. And it has a lot to live up to because no matter what, people are going to compare it to the first Avengers movie.
So, but that's my issue. Now, I look back at those Marvel movies, the original, stage one of the Marvel movies, and I think that was the best part of the movies. Remember watching Iron Man 2, which was at most a mediocre film, but the scene where he lifts up Captain America's shield and how much people got hyped for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then compare that to actually seeing a reveal of a character like Thanos. It's not as special. You know what I mean? Because that's hidden to a universe, and then that's outright showing this is what the universe is. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm hoping when we get in Justice League is a hint to a bigger universe and not pretty much show me. I don't want to see, if we do get Darkseid, I want it to be a hint of Darkseid. You know what I mean?
I agree. I want it to be, I don't even want to see him. I would be okay with just seeing a figure sitting in a chair with his red eyes.
You know what would be even better, and I know this is going to be really nerdy of me, just the best way to compare. When they killed Raditz at the end of Dragon Ball Z, and he said, "There's 2 more Saiyans on the way, and they're even more powerful than me." You had no idea what Vegeta or Nappa looked like at the time. So your mind ran crazy. That's what I would love instead. You know what I mean?
Oh, Steppenwolf just kind of mentions.
Yes, there's somebody better, even more terrifying than me. Because I know before I saw Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z, before I saw Nappa, what I had came up in my mind was completely different from what I even saw. And even when they showed their silhouettes, like you said, just shown a silhouette or shadow in the chair, even then I came up with something even crazier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to see Vegeta's hairline, but in my mind, I was like, he has spikes growing out of his head. He is badass. Look at that. So, either way, I'm really excited about this Justice League, and I'm really excited about this universe, but I'm hoping, you know what I mean? I I'm really shocked if we don't at least see Black Adam somewhere, at least in this film, just because, like I said, Rock has been casted as him since like 1987.
It has been a while, but yeah.
He literally got casted as him like right after Batman v Superman. They're like, oh, by the way, The Rock is playing back Black Adam. Not that big of a deal. Like, what? That's insane.
Don't make this awkward or anything.
Yeah, to the point where like people are like, is he the villain of the next Superman movie? And they're like, no, he's gonna be the villain of Shazam. And they're like, well, all right, well, who's playing Shazam? We don't know.
We haven't thought that far yet.
We wanted The Rock. He looked just like Black Adam, so we called him. We're like, hey, you want to play Black Adam? Rock was like, yeah, I do. So, hey, why not? But on from one amazing news to the next, like we said, video games for 2017. A lot going on there, buddy, huh?
Oh my God, yes.
We've gone on Odysseys. We've had Fractured Buttholes. You know,
and that's only the later part of this year. Don't forget, we had Horizon, Zelda.
We did go on Zero Dawns while we were at Breath of the Wilds. We've had Andromeda. We had Injustices going on, man. We had Manias running amok. It was an insane year for games.
Yeah. So,
favorite game of this year so far?
You know what?
I haven't heard of that one yet.
I don't really want to go into that part of a topic yet because I would like to save that for when we do our own like game of the year discussion. Because I do feel like if I say what my favorite game is, people are going to be like, "Oh, well, now we know what he's going to say his game of the year is." But what I did want to talk about was, do you think 2018 can top this? Now we do have a couple of games we know that are coming out in 2018 already. We have Monster Hunter. We have Detroit Becoming Human. We have Days Gone and God of War.
I am excited about next year. I will say this, though. I was more excited about this year than I am next year already. You know what I mean? So to me, it's hard. I think the thing that gets me most excited about next year is the thought of God of War coming out, and that's about it. And then the rest of it is news I might get from Nintendo. But this year alone, I remember the anticipation I saw from Horizon Zero Dawn when that was coming out, and thought to myself, like, you know what I mean? This is a first day purchase for me. Not to mention, if you remember, that came out. What was that? 2/28/17. Breath of the Wild came out 3/3/2017, and I still picked up Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon came out Tuesday. Breath of the Wild came out that Friday.
Yeah. So to me, it's mind-boggling that, like, you know, this year we got games like that, and that lived up to the hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus next year, like I said, I'm excited for God of War. I'm excited about that potential Metroid game coming out. You know, but that's all we really. I haven't really seen the big shock factor. Oh, Spider-Man, that comes out next year, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Spider-Man.
We got Resident Evil 7 this year, you know what I mean? Like, we got some really, really good games. Think about it this way. We started our podcast this year. And because of the amount of amazing games we've gotten, there was never a dull month on this podcast. We had that one month where we both got the same game and just talked and sung its praises. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was probably like almost every month for a while. There was a game that came out that we both legit got. Not to mention, there was a system released in 2017. You know what I mean? The Switch came out. So it's like, is 2018 going to be able to compare? Yeah, we're getting the Xbox One X. No, that's November, matter of fact. It's still this year.
Yeah. Everything is still this year.
Yeah, so like I no offense 2018, but gaming I think went to 2017.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, it's still early, obviously. We do have a few things, but we don't know what Nintendo's going to do. We don't know what Microsoft's doing yet. But, we also have Red Dead in 2018. That got pushed back.
Another one I'm excited for, but okay. Here's the best way I can describe it without sounding like a weirdo. There's always games I get first day as an adult because I'm like, I want to play these games first day. And then, I don't know if you'd go do this, but then my wife goes, hey, what do you want for Christmas? Pick like 3 games. And all the games I throughout the year wanted to try but didn't outright buy, I always put them on the list. Last year it was Titanfall 2, Assassin's Creed Trilogy, and do you remember the third one for me?
Oh, Wasn't it Final Fantasy 15?
No, you got that one for me. Tomb Raider was the third
Tomb
one I got.
Raider, yes.
Right. Those are 3 games I wanted to play, but just didn't have them, or didn't want to put the money out for them. So she got me those 3. This year, I was thinking about that list. I don't have it because literally everything I wanted to play, I went and bought this year.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how good this year was in gaming. That I never, like, everything that came out, I was like, I had to get. So far on that list is Wolfenstein right now, and I'm most likely going to get that in the next couple weeks. I don't think I'll make it till December. So if you put Wolfenstein on any, same thing with Assassin's Creed. Once I go back and watch our video and see you playing, what do you think I'm going to get next week? You know?
Yeah.
So this was a good year for games. A good year to be a gamer.
Oh, 100%. Even if you didn't like every game, I really feel like this year was the year that there was something for anyone. You know?
It's true. I know people that barely play video games that bought many games this year just because they released so much. And it's funny because there's certain months that throughout the year that games just particularly come out. We know NBA's coming out. We know Madden's coming out. We know we get Call of Duty coming out. Just these games that come out every so often these months every single year. This year we had all those games, and then sprinkled in between were the amazing actual gems of games. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, hey, it is what it is.
Well, here's to 2018, and let's hope it's just as good.
Then we go. We got Call of Duty still coming out next month, and
Star Wars.
And Star Wars. And I'm honestly looking at this Call of Duty, and everybody's agreeing this might be what brings the franchise back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hoping it does. And don't forget, December we have Xenoblade for the Switch.
I'm never seeing the light of day. Never again.
No, it's a hard. It's also really hard right now to be a gamer because there's so much to play.
It is a lot to play. A lot to play. And you are playing. What'd you say again? Right now?
Right now, I'm playing Wolfenstein and Shadow of War. Those are my 2 main courses.
Done with Evil Within?
No, Evil Within I'm putting on the side until I'm done with Wolfenstein. That's going to be my next linear game. So what I'm trying to do is do 1 linear game and 1 open world game at a time. I started Wolfenstein. I was actually going to go back to Evil Within 2, but I just got so into Wolfenstein that I can't put it down. It's only about 14 hours long, I've read. So I think I'm just going to try to get through that and then go into Evil Within. Because Evil Within has these open world sections. It's not as big as most open world games, but I can see that taking up more time than Wolfenstein right now.
I can understand that. Good. Well, next month we got LA Noire coming out.
Yeah.
The 17th, Skyrim comes out for the Switch. We also have Horizon Zero Dawn coming out, the DLC. And like I was saying, for those people that don't have Horizon Zero Dawn yet, you're dumb, number 1. Number 2, you're smart because they're now releasing it for $50, and that comes with everything. So, and Call of Duty next month too. Anything else?
Star Wart.
Star Wars. Oh, geez, next month's gonna be another October for us.
And you forgot one of the most important ones that comes out on the 3rd. .hack.
Oh, .hack, yeah, because everybody plays .hack. It's great. That's a joke. I actually really do like the .hack series. So and Secret of Mana. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, that's right.
So, and have you watched the gameplay for Secret of Mana?
I have. It looks beautiful. Like
I love the cheesiness of it. I even love the fact that the voice acting, their lips don't move. I think that's such a clever throwback. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's so much coming out it sucks because I'm trying to review some of our games too, and it's just so hard to get the time into them.
It is. And you never want to rush anything because we all know what makes a game is the story, the gameplay, and the ending. And you never want to review something until you see that ending, you know?
Yeah.
So I know there's certain games that the endings made or broke it for me, you know?
I can agree with that 100%.
You know, when I saw Titus in Final Fantasy X just go through her arms and disappear, whoo!
Sounds like you're choking up already thinking about it.
I needed a moment, man. That was emotional. But then we go to Metal Gear Solid 5, which ended horrendously, in my opinion. Ruined the whole game for me.
Yeah. unfortunately.
So that's yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not easy to review games, and if we want to be a fair podcast, which I think we really are, we don't want to rush a review out there just to be, up in the crowd. And what I definitely never want to be is those guys on YouTube that read other people's reviews.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
And price it on as their own information. I literally watched 2 reviews on YouTube of a guy doing a review and then a guy copying his review and making the same jokes.
Wow.
And it was painful. And you know who you were.
So let's get into your enthusiast pick.
Well, you're going to get mad because it's Mario Odyssey.
Oh my god.
All right. So anyway, for the non-hipster in this room right now, I am picking Mario Odyssey. Not because it's a Nintendo game, but because it is an amazing Nintendo game.
You're all sheep.
Yes, I am.
Blind sheep.
If you own a Switch and you haven't picked this up, you're obviously out of money, and I'm sorry about that. Hit up your mom or your dad or your brother or something legally to get it and enjoy the game. Although, to agree with my other enthusiast here, the game story is a very simple one. It is Bowser kidnaps Peach, like always. The actual gameplay of this game is so unique and fun, and the possessed ability is just, you run around the game literally throwing your hat at everything just to see what you can possess and see what you can do in the game. And it's been a long time since I've actually played a game like that and just enjoyed myself smiling, and it's gotten to the point where everybody in the house is just watching me play this game and, throw your hat at that and see if you can possess that. I think it's amazing. So I definitely recommend picking up Mario Odyssey.
All right. That's I guess a good pick, Teach their own.
I could do some old school 90s RPG, but I'll be a sheep over here instead.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Bah.
For anybody, I've noticed we got a few more comments on our YouTube page. So thanks very much for commenting. Please keep feeding us what you want to hear from us. We got a couple tips on different things you want to hear. I got a compliment. Somebody loves me, apparently, or thinks I rock. Excuse me. So whoever you are, appreciate it. But anything else you want to add, buddy?
No, I think that's going to be it. This has been episode 47 of The Enthusiast. Be sure to hit that like button if you like what you heard. And continue with the comments. We really do appreciate reading them. Sorry that we don't always reply within a timely fashion, but we'll try to work on that.
I'm going to go back to hitting that like button because like us, nothing wrong with that.
Who doesn't want to be liked?
If you like us, it will come. I don't know what it is right now, but it will come if you like us. I don't know if that scares you, but if it doesn't, hit the like button. And please follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, SoundCloud, and
Facebook.
And
our website.
And our website, our glorious website, which you also can leave a comment about. So if you have any questions, want to see anything with us, please go ahead and hit us up on that.
Yeah, you can also email us. Our email links are in there as well. But this has been episode 47 of The Enthusiast.
47?
Yeah.
Wow, we're old at men by this point.
I know. Coming up on 50s.
You know what's insane, and I know you're listening, somebody's probably been there from episode 1, and you've been hanging in 47 times. And I appreciate whoever you are.
Thank you.
Just know that. Thank you.
We are grateful.
You know what I mean? Matter of fact, if you have been listening from episode 1 on episode 50, go ahead and leave that comment that I've been there since episode 1. We're going to give you a special thanks on episode 50.
Ooh, I like that. Well, like I said, this is episode 47 Enthusiast, and we are gone.
Peace!